All right, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025, and I'm so excited about this event. We did this, what, a couple of years ago, I think? It's been a while since we did it, I think. I'm not getting any customers on Alignable, from crickets to clients. And the reason we name it that is because, well, I think all three of us see people post that all the time, right? In your feed, we always see someone, I'm not getting any customers on Alignable, I'm leaving, And then I don't know if you two know this, but there was some feedback things like when people rated Alignable. I was going through what people, there's a lot of really good ratings, and then every so often there's one that says, I didn't get any customers on Alignable. And I'm like, okay, we got to do this event again because some people just don't get it. They just don't have the right attitude and the right mindset around it. So I am just going to start this off. Well, first of all, let's do some introductions. My name's Sue. I've been on Alignable for a long time, more than 10 years. But 5 years ago, I came on the Alignable team, and I actually get to teach people how to use Alignable. So I do a lot of educational events every week. And fun fact, I live in a motorhome, and I've traveled all over the country meeting our members and business owners. So Sherry, do a quick.
Okay, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sherry Pedrielli. I do not work for Alignable. I used to do a lot of trainings. And we're actually, Sue and I are bringing some of them back. I think they're just very relevant. And I have a fun fact. I now have also a motorhome. I'm not traveling around like Sue, but I have one, and it's actually identical. It's just mine's called Freedom. It's got Freedom Elite
Actually,
on.
mine is, it doesn't say Freedom, but I named mine.
Mine says Freedom.
Oh, weird. Too many weird things. Anyway, and Jason, introduce yourself.
So I'm Jason Integrity, and I'm a sales strategist. I run a couple of groups on Alignable. I'm also an ambassador here in North Carolina. And quite honestly, I have done everything in sales. I started in corporate, and eventually, like, I need to do this for myself. And since I've been doing it, I see a lot of people doing it wrong. So I'm like, hey, I could turn this into a business.
I love it. Sherry, you didn't tell everybody what your business is.
Yeah, and when Jason just said that, I thought about that. I've turned what I'm doing now into a business because of how I built my other businesses. So I am a relationship marketing expert. I teach people how to really focus on relationships over transactions. So, and that's what I did in, like I said, all of my businesses. So now I have that business.
Awesome. Plus, you own a commercial plumbing company. That's
I do.
husband. So she's got like complete opposite businesses here. So, all right, I'm going to start right out with the title of this event and the question and what I see posted all the time. And let's just have a conversation. When you see somebody post, I'm not getting any customers on Alignable. I just don't get it. Let's start with Jason.
So if you're not getting any customers, then you have not created a customer journey. You're just trying to go sell stuff. And it has to be a conversation. You need to nurture people. You got to attract people into that conversation. What's dope about you? What is there to like? How can you solve my problem? We need to address all these things in your marketing, and then you can get sales. But if you just go into room to room, person to person, trying to quick pitch and get a sale, it's going to be terrible for you in every aspect of business.
Absolutely. And Sherry, what do you say about that? Then we're going to I want you guys to share your stories.
Yeah, no, I back everything up that Jason said. And it's funny, we have the Smart Connects on here, and I hear this repeatedly. It's like, well, I've got to go in. It's a Smart Connect. We're got to, tell everybody about our business. No, go in these Smart Connects and get to know the person. You have 7 minutes, 7 minutes. And I'm going to hold a thought, and I'm going to bring it in later because I'm not sure where you're going with this, but yeah, build the relationship first. Get to know people before you start pitching them.
Awesome. Well, I know right before everybody got here today, I think Jason, you were saying, oh my gosh, you got something that somebody connected with you. Tell your story that you were telling before everybody got here.
So I get this a lot, and I'm sure you all do too, where somebody sends you a connection request and you accept it, and then blah, here comes this pitch. It's really, really wild on Alignable. You might get a whole dissertation on Alignable. So because I'm a strategist and a coach, I just start coaching like, hey, don't do it that way. You're ruining your brand doing this. You're going to become known as a goofball and just try to pitch everybody. And you don't want that in the Alignable streets, right? So the we have to not rush the process. And I think that's what a lot of people do is it's like you're looking at the numbers of it and now you put pressure on yourself to perform and now we out here. So it happens all of the time where you're just trying to get to the sale and then you blow the sale because you're rushing yourself through it, So but it happens all the time on the line. I'm sure you all get the same thing.
So what do you do? So I know a lot of people have actually asked me that, Jason. They'll say, "Oh my gosh, somebody messaged me and they just automatically started doing this." What do you do? Because you told me that you have a good answer for them. What do you do when people do that?
Usually I call them a goofball, but
Tell
but
them to their face.
yeah, and then I send them the link to the website, don'tbeagoofball.com. And then when you put the URL in, the picture of the goofball of them pointing pops up in right in the screen. It's the funniest thing ever. So that's what I do. But I also try to coach people along the way because a lot of people who exhibit goofball behavior, they just don't know, and they've been watching movies and they see how they sell in the movies, right? You watch Suits or something, and then now you think you're going to jump in it like that. And that doesn't happen in real life, right? So I tend to start coaching like from the gate, and most people, it's two reactions. They either get really mad at me or they appreciate it, and so and it's never anything in between.
That's funny. I had someone that one time, and I work for Alignable, so I can actually say, "Hey, you know what? I work for Alignable. Let me give you some of my best tips so that you can be successful here. I really want you to be successful." And sometimes they'll like, "Oh, thank you," or I'll say, "We don't do things like that around here," and they're like, "Oh, thank goodness." Most people don't want to do that, but I think what happens, I don't know, Sheriff, if you figured this out, but a lot of new people that come to Alignable are so used to social media and they've been told to go out there and, just give out all your contact information and spam the crap out of everybody. But they don't know to not do that here. So what is your answer when people do that?
So I'm like Jason, I will try and educate because they are coming in from a different platform and they've got a different mentality. And whether you want to call it a goofball, which I love it, but it's just they just don't know. And it's like I first take all opportunity to educate them around what Alignable is all about. What is Alignable's culture and how if you do things right on Alignable, you will not only end up with customers, but you will end up with the very best referral partners. I mean, it's a win-win if you do it right. But if you come into these meetings immediately pitching, when the three of us were on a call just a second ago before you guys came in, it was like somebody that I know and love, I've known him for 5 years on here, referred somebody to me. And he already fair warned him, please, I'm going to introduce you to Sherry. Do not pitch her. Get to know her. And the second I got on that call, he started pitching. So of course, what did I do? I called the person who referred me. I said, I thought I told you not or to make sure you educate these people. He says, I did. So some people are going to get it and some people are not, but I do try and educate as much as I can.
So what other stuff do you see people, let's go over some mistakes that you two have seen. Just jump in. What have you seen the mistakes people make on here? On
Short-term thinking. I think that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
You want it now, microwave. It's not Amazon. You're not gonna get it in tomorrow. That's right. It's an entire journey that you have to take these customers on, and you need to address every step of that journey. If you're doing that, clients will come to you, right? If you're not doing that, then you're chasing. You say, this is the funniest thing ever. I was thinking about this the other day. But if you ever had like a little kid, I had two boys at the same time. They were 2 and 4. And you take them to the mall and then they run, or if they get a little bit further away from you, if you rush toward them, they're going to run. You know they're going to run, right? And so it's the same thing when you're trying to sell somebody who doesn't want to be sold. If you just rush in trying to sell it, they're going to run from you. They don't want it. They don't like you yet. They don't know if they need it. This feels kind of uncomfortable, you know. And why are you pressing this so hard? You must not be good at this, because why are you trying to convince me, right? So now I'm thinking all of these negative things about you, and I want to run because you're pressing it. But if you're thinking more long term, you'll get there at the exact right moment that you need to.
I
Yeah.
love that analogy.
It's that transactional mindset versus relational, right? They're coming in and they're after that transaction, not the relationship. They don't know how. And sometimes, and if they do, again, it's still a different approach. And I've had people that have come from other platforms, and once they understand how Alignable works and how, you know, you can really be successful on here, they're like, oh my God, I wish I knew that. I wish I would have known this in the beginning. So the more people that we keep reaching out to and that reach out to us and we educate, there's a lot of people on here now that educate people how to behave on Alignable, that, you know, the word's getting out. It's a ripple effect that's starting to happen. But we're still going to get, because we get how many new people every single day on the platform. So we're always in education mode when we're meeting new people. So I always try and give them the benefit of the doubt.
I love that. So what would you tell a brand new person that is coming on Alignable and okay, here's really what I want to say. So you two are examples of people, you've been around here for a while, we all have, and we have a tribe. We have built really good friendships. The three of us have become really close friends, and we've actually done events together, even in person, and we've built that relationship. And you know, I guess what I'm thinking about is like chamber mixers. When I used to go to the chamber all the time, you would go to their mixers every month, and there'd be the pods of people. You know, you only saw them once a month, and then when new people came in, they didn't really know what to do. You know what I'm talking about? Like they come in and they're like, well, everybody's knows everybody, and I don't know anybody. I'm just gonna leave. So how, I guess maybe some kind of tips for not only people like us that already like, we have our tribes on helping and embracing these new people, but what would you tell some of the new people on how to get involved and get to know people like you and other people that have been on here for a while? Either one of you want to go first?
Yeah, so when new people come in, the first thing I do is I do tell them to go to the Alignable University trainings. That is the very first thing I tell them to do, is just go to Sue Brooks trainings. It's going to set you up for success. It's the profile workshops. It's how to use Alignable. It's 360. Go watch that, because then I don't have to spend my time teaching Alignable because it's already there. You know, and I teach, you know, and the other thing I tell them is get into the groups where your people are hanging out. If you know who your customers are and your referral partners, go to those groups. Do not join every single group. I was on a call 2 days ago with somebody, and he's like, oh my God, I'm in 50 groups. I said, you're what? Why? And he's like, well, because everybody needs my stuff. And I said, oh my God. I said, no. I said, you do not need to be in 50 groups. I said, that is Jason's goofball behavior. That is spam. You are out there spamming these people. Well, I go to these Smart Connects, and I asked, I said, how many Smart Connects are you doing? They're like, I don't know, 5 a day. I'm like, oh, good God. When do you have time to have a one-to-one and really get to know the person? What do you think they said? They need my stuff. I'm like, you're not going to last on here.
But that's the problem, right? They need my stuff, and so it's not about them. It's about what you think they need, and you're just going to force feed everybody. That's a problem, right? Because everybody doesn't need your stuff. Everybody doesn't want your stuff, and a lot of people who need your stuff just don't want it from you. And that's a cold reality that we got to understand in the very beginning. 60% of the market does not want to do business with you. Pick a reason. It can be whatever reason that they made up in their mind. You know, they don't want to do business with you. And it doesn't matter how good you sell it, doesn't matter how smooth you talk or how good you look. They don't want it. And you're wasting your time trying to force it. Now, the other 40%, which you could never serve, it's so big of a target audience that this is where you should live. But you should be trying to nurture these relationships. You know,
Jason,
mhm.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna piggyback on you. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, jump in.
No, I was just gonna say, so, but then you have those other people who they're like, for instance, there is a product that I've told this story before on here, a product that I have wanted to try for so long, but I had all these people just in my face. I won't mention what the product is, but they in my face, like, you need it, you need it, you need it. And I'm like, I do want it. I don't know if I need it, but I do want the product. And it wasn't until meeting somebody right here on Alignable, getting to know them, having multiple conversations about who they were, their family, you know, all of the other cool stuff that we do to build a relationship. Then I'm the one who approached. I said, oh, by the way, I see that you sell. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I want to try it out. They're like, you do? Get to know the people. And that is truly where the magic happens.
Absolutely.
So I'm a forever customer.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's so awesome. You know, I see that somebody said in the chat, they talked about targeting. It's not Alignable's job to target. Alignable is just a platform. You should know who your target market is before you come, and you should have broken that market into segments. So when you are talking to people, I know exactly what you need in your industry and how I serve you. And then now as you're connecting, it's a part of the conversation. Now you can ask smart questions. But being on the platform or using 360 and kind of filling out that profile is not going to bring you any business, but it helps if you work through all the steps. If that profile is filled all the way out, if your target market is listed, ideal customers are listed on there, then that gives you a shot to get in front of these people. Now, what are you saying and how you position in that conversation is up to you. Just don't blow it, right? But the better you understand your business, who you are, how you want to present yourself to this audience, now you can set up a better conversation. And then now you know who you're looking for, and you can be intentional about how you network.
Yeah, you know, and you just mentioned, so like the Alignable 360, which is so awesome. It's such a great feature that they brought in here, because I showed Sue a picture the other day. I said, oh my God, I cleaned out my office. And what did I find? This huge box of business cards. I have no idea where half of those came from. But with the Alignable, you know, 360 and us being able to look into their networks is so amazing. But here's the thing. It's still knowing who your customer is and who your referral partner is. Don't just go in, because this happens to me all the time. You know, we have a lot of connections, right? From all the events that we do. So we have connections, but don't be that person that's just because you're seeing those people who have high connections say, hey, I see you're connected too. Can you connect me? Don't do that. Really, really do your homework when you're in that second degree and third degree network. Are they your people? Or are you just really trying to spam them? Because that you got to be careful there. Very careful. And it's like, don't just go with the people who have all these major connections. Are they your people?
It's true. Someone's there are asking, okay, so, and this was a very similar question to in the last event that we just did. Reaching out to someone, let's say you see someone, you want to meet them, and you send them a connection request, or maybe you ask somebody to introduce you and it's crickets and nobody ever gets back to you, or they don't accept your connection request. What do you guys do about that? Either one of you, just jump in.
So I don't do that. I don't go out to try to get the business. I try to attract the business to me. And so I show up in places and I try to help, and I give insight, right? And I put out content that I think is helpful or feels good. And then that allows people to say, I like what you're posting. I like the kind of energy you have. You posted something the other day that really made me think, and that makes people want to connect with you. So y'all know the adage of people do business with who they know, like, and trust. So let's tweak it and let's put the like first. They need to like you before they want to get to know you. Right. So how are you representing yourself, and how are you attracting people to you? So it's one thing to go to all of these events and have these conversations, but it's a way easy conversation if somebody comes to you for a problem that you can solve. Right. So how are you attracting them in? And when you do reach out to connect with people, if you are trying to give them the same kind of energy of how can I help you and who can I connect you with, you'll get those leads. You'll get those referrals because they know that you're going to put them in good hands. So I'm not ever giving a referral to somebody that I don't trust, right? Or if I think that they're going to be on exhibit goofball behavior. So it's like, let me connect you with somebody and don't embarrass me. And service them in the same fashion that I would.
Which I think this person who did that for me the other day, I think they're gonna get a phone call because it's like, I told you not to do that and you did it anyway. So, yeah, and and that what Jason just said also, when I'm the same way, I don't really use connections because people connect with me. However, when I do connect, when I do use my connection credits, I am super selective and I do my stalking. I will look at their profile. I will look at their Facebook. I will find everything I can about them. I will go to their websites. So that's when I'm using my connection credits, right? I want to know who this person is. Are they really somebody I want to get to know? So I think that's just super important is, are these my people? Are they a potential customer? Are they more importantly, I look at, are they a referral partner? So do your homework on them.
I love that. So what else have you seen? What other things would you tell people not to do on Alignable? Anything that you've seen that they shouldn't do?
So the act of selling is a problem. Is killing you. It's killing your brand because you're out here pushing it, right? And at times, timely aggression is good, right? But just going full bore to everybody that you're talking to, and you're repeating the same thing, the same elevator pitch, right? I work with small to medium-sized businesses, and I help them. Everybody stopped listening once you said small to medium-sized businesses, right? But who do you help, and what problems do you solve? And as you have that conversation, it's attractive, so the goal is to have quality conversations, quality over quantity. And if we're thinking old school, fill the funnel, what are you filling the funnel with? A bunch of people who don't want to talk to you? Or are you filling the funnel with people who are naturally attracted to your energy and they see how the value in what you do? So I think one of the biggest problems is just the pitch attitude.
Yeah. Here's a question in the chat. Is it better to post in groups or just comment? Posting is great if you're posting valuable content without pitching. And when you're commenting, it's the same thing. You don't want to, and don't hijack those posts. So somebody will post something and they're like, oh yeah, use me, I've got whatever. Don't do that to someone. A lot of times those posts are going to get hidden. So if there's moderators in those groups, they will hide those kind of posts. But yeah, post like, so every Tuesday I have a relationship marketing tip that goes out. I'm not asking for anything. It's just a tip that goes out. Okay. I do that in the construction group, in my home feed, in other groups that I'm in. Post valuable content and watch for the engagement. And yeah, but don't hijack post.
Yeah.
And Jason, I'm gonna go find the link to the YouTube where your event is. But Jason just did an event not long ago about how to increase post engagement. So give us a few of your tips on that, since we have that question in the chat.
So when it comes to content, right, let's start off with who are you talking to? You really got to understand who you're talking to, because if you're talking to everybody, you're not talking to anybody, right? Everybody's going to tune you out because it's just general and bland. Once you understand that target market, you need to break it into segments, because even though they fall under that umbrella of the target market, it's still different people. So for example, my biggest target market is entrepreneurs, but they come in a lot of different forms. You got service-based, you got medical, right? And you got construction. So for each of those, it's a different conversation. And I need to post content that's attractive to all of them. And within that, you need to post 3 different types of content. It's hero, help, and hub content. right? So hub content is just insight into who I am, things that I care about, the type of energy that I bring, stuff to stay motivated, the article that I like. Help content is just 5 things you need to know about this, 3 things you need to do before that. And then the hero content is this, right? So we show up and we do video and we record it, and that lives forever, right? So it's on YouTube, it's all over Alignable. And now I'm showing up as the expert. So if you're doing that with all of your market segments, then now you're attracting people constantly into that conversation. And then now you got people participating in the content, which is what you want. And then they'll follow the breadcrumbs back to your business.
I love that. And what you just said, I just want to make sure everybody heard that. It's like, we have groups for everything, right? So wherever you're posting and whatever you're posting, make sure you're speaking to that audience. That's a big one. You know, if you're in the group of bookkeepers, talk to bookkeepers. Or if you're in with solopreneurs, talk to them. If you're talking to the women business owners, talk to them and make sure it's something relevant to each one of those groups of people, definitely. But there's another question, which this is a good one because a lot of people ask this. A lot of time is being spent on pitching. Will there be any tips for those of us who are not pitching, but we're still not getting much business on Alignable? Either one of you go.
Great question.
Okay, if you're not pitching and you're building your network, right? What's the next step of the customer journey? We should always be thinking customer journey. So that people go from step 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, right? Step 4 should be your sales conversation. So how are you nurturing people through the process? So if you're connecting with all of these dope people and there's a lot of good energy, what are you telling them to do next? You know, go to the website, book an appointment. Go to the website and download this checklist that I made for you. What are you telling them to do next to set up the sales conversation? And if you're not doing that, then that explains why it's stagnant.
Yeah, and part of that is, you know, people have been burned so many times. They want to know who the person is that they're working with. I met people on this platform that it took me 3 years to buy from them. I knew how amazing they were just because I surrounded myself in the groups. I wanted, again, something else that somebody had that I met here, right? But it took 3 years to build that relationship. And I knew that once that I took that step into the journey with what I was looking for, I was going to be able to refer him out to other people. And that has happened. But that's the thing, it's building a relationship, and relationships take time. People are in such a hurry. They think it happens overnight. It doesn't. It could happen a year from now. It could happen. I mean, I have customers that, for instance, I send cards to, right? That a couple years and 3 years later, they're sending me a email back or a text going, okay, I'm ready to do the card thing. You don't know when they're ready, but keep building the relationship, keep growing the network.
Okay, I have to jump in with you too, because the thing that you two have both done, and I just interviewed a couple of people, especially, I don't know if you guys know Molly, who comes to our mastermind every single Friday. I've interviewed people like her and you guys who you've taken, I think the thing that you guys all do and you're all getting great business on Alignable is you just decided to help as many people as you can and to show up and offer free stuff, free content. You're constantly, Jason, giving free advice to everyone. And it's like massively valuable advice. Sherry, you do the same thing. And the two of you also, you host events. You became premium members and now you host groups and you get to host events in there, and it's not pitching events, you're not selling anything, you're literally teaching people stuff. You show up at the mastermind every Friday. Let's just talk about that right there. What has the mastermind done for you guys to put you on a pedestal? And like Molly and people like Joe that come every week, they show up. I think that's the key. What do you have to say about that, Jay? Let's start with Sherry this time.
Yeah, no, it's showing, it's exactly what you just said. It's showing up, it's being engaged, it's being seen, it's giving, it's being of that servant heart, right? And yeah, it just, I've seen some amazing things. And again, don't be bopping around the whole platform. Find your people. So we, like Sue was just talking about the masterminds. We started that mastermind 5 years ago in March. 5 years, and we've been doing it every single Friday. And we've had people that are still there, and they still come back.
Can you share what we do in the mastermind? Because someone just asked what a
Yeah.
mastermind is.
So a mastermind, if you're not familiar with it, there's a lot of different ways that you can put on masterminds, but we do a power mastermind, and it's coined from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. We all have a powerful mind, but when you put more than one mind together, your advisory board on the screen, if we were looking at you would all be the experts. One person would come in, ask a burning question, struggle, challenge, and then you just get to hush, and then everybody else gives advice. The really cool thing about a mastermind, it's not your typical networking, but it's where you get to see the experts. You get to hear from the experts, and then you get to build on the relationship. You get to meet with them. And people who come into our masterminds, some of them don't even take a burning question. They have pages and pages of notes because somebody else has already asked that question. Powerful.
Exactly. And everyone is an expert. Every single one of you in this room is an expert. So what's cool about the mastermind is not only do you get to ask a question and get help from everyone, it's like your own advisory board, but then you get to help. If someone asks a question and you're an expert in that, or you have great advice or something that's happened, you get to help them too. But any comments on the mastermind and why those are so important, Jason?
So the masterminds are great because you get to show up as the expert, like they said, right? Now I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but I love what I do. This is a good time every time. I like talking about marketing and sales, right? So whenever I have the opportunity to do it, I'm showing up, and this is a direct extension of how it feels to work with me. So I'm the same person, whether you're a client or whether we're just doing this, right? So I want people to get insight into my personality, how my work ethic. If you see me doing this all the time, then what do you think I'm doing with my clients, right? So this is a walk-in commercial, and all of it is to build your brand. So look at it this way. Why did you start your business? And really think about why you do this. It should be some passion in there because it's connected to your purpose, right? So I used to work in corporate, and I said, if I can make them millions of dollars, then I can help regular people make a lot of money too. So every client I work with is me sticking it to the man, right? So this is a part of what drives me. If you are active on the platform, what's driving you? Not just going through the motions, like I'm putting out content, I'm commenting on stuff. What are you saying? What are you saying that means something to you and it'll resonate with your tribe? Because if you just copy and paste and everything, that explains why you're not selling nothing. It explains why the customer journey is not getting filled, because where's the passion? Where is it that I care? I saw somebody post this the other day, and it says that people don't care what you know until they know how much you care, right? And it's a real thing. So how are you showing up? How do you interact with people? And you'll naturally start to attract that same kind of energy. You literally get out what you put in. All right, I'm gonna get down off the pulpit.
Okay, I love it. There's a question in the top that is actually, I get it, because I think we've all been there where we're either just starting a business or maybe something happened. I remember when I lost everything through the sale of a business, and I was in a really bad place, and I was in a massively scarcity mindset. I needed money. I needed it now. I needed customers now. And I know how that is. I've met lots of people. I've helped a lot of people with that. But someone posts, there's people that are startups or really realistically can't afford to take years to get sales and get customers. They need money now. What do you have any advice for people like that going through that? Either one of you. Go ahead, Jason, you're shaking your head.
Get to work. All of these things that we're saying, you gotta do. You cannot fast forward the process. You gotta do all of this. or it won't work. Or you out here and you're trying to just sell stuff, and 1% of the time you'll get a sale doing it the wrong way. But you can't live on that. So why would you rush to that one sale? So it's not like it takes years to develop. It just takes effort. And so if there are smart connects going on every day, then that's what you need to be doing every day. If you are on these platforms putting out content, then you need to be putting out content. If your activities are not generating revenue, then what are you doing? Right? So if you're thinking about, okay, I need to make X number of dollars a month, right? $10,000 a month. How many clients do you need to hit that number, right? With the average sale, right? So if I'm selling $1,000 per client, then I need 10 clients. Okay, so you're not going to meet 10 people and get 10 clients. What's your conversion rate? If you talk to 50 people, can you get 10 clients? If you talk to 100 people with a 10% conversion rate, can you get 10 clients? So until you can get your messaging together, until you can get the process together to where this is my process and this is how I run it, while you're figuring that out, then you got to work way longer than everybody else to get a customer until you can boost that conversion rate. So if you're only getting 10%, and then you need to talk to 100 people in this week, and then let that funnel stay full, and then it'll start to close on its own. But you cannot go to people and press them. You cannot just magically find people who need you. I don't care what kind of lead generation you got on, you still have to filter through it. So the process doesn't change, it's still work. And as long as you commit to the work, you find, but it's a mindset thing. And it's not a this not working and that's not working. It should be this has to work. There is no way in hell I'm going back to corporate. So this has to work, right? And until you commit that way and you're all in, every time you have a problem, you're going to feel like, well, maybe I could go do this. No, this has to work. So I got to figure it out. So YouTube videos, come to the trainings, go to all the suit stuff, connect with as many people as you can, and show up in a way that exudes that kind of energy and that passion that you started your business for.
I love it. Sherry, any tips?
Yeah, it's, why are you in it? What do you need to do? And realize there are unlimited potentials to make that money. When you are not making any money, you are stuck on the excuses. You're stuck on something else. So, and I know that. And, one of the other things, it's like, sometimes you have to spend money to make money. And that's the other thing. People are like, I can't spend, premium, or, I got to hire somebody. Get out of that mindset. It's going to keep you stuck. I know when I first started my plumbing company, I was doing it all 60, 70 hours a week. And I'm like, I can't hire anybody. I can't afford it. You can't afford not to. And that's the same thing when I tell people on, with Alignable, get involved with premium, be a premium member, because it's going to level up your game. It is. But
Yeah,
you have unlimited potentials to make money. Those are excuses, and there's something holding you back. And sometimes we have to dig really, really deep to find out what it is. That's why, so I have a group on Alignable. I've got the BRC group, which is Business Relationship Community Group. It's all about personal development for business growth. We are the ones who are standing in our way. So you really need to look in the mirror. Why are you not making money? Why is your business not growing? Get that mirror out and take a look.
Ooh, gives me chills. Definitely, 100%. And you said a lot of things there. I remember in my tutoring business, I had tutoring after school programs. I had a huge 5,000 square foot learning center. I was doing everything. I mean, everything. I was up in the morning. I was cleaning the center. I was getting it ready. I was doing sales. I was tutoring. I had 2 phones in my ears. I had a computer and it was crazy. And one day I just remember it was like 2 in the morning and I just laid down. And I said, what do I do? And it was like, I knew I needed to hire somebody, but I honestly had no money. I did not have the money to do it. But when I did it, it's like what Sherry said. It was like, all of a sudden I made more money. I mean, it was like I didn't know where that money was going to come from, but because I spent the money to do that, and it was the same when I joined a mastermind that was like $5,000 or $15,000 a year. And I'm like, I don't have the money for this. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But as soon as I got involved in a mastermind, this was a big paid mastermind, and it changed my entire life. And so I love that you said that. I don't know if Jason, you have anything to say about being on one of the paid plans on Alignable. Is there anything that you think that you could add to that and why that's a great investment?
Yeah, yeah. So in addition to getting the connection credits, right, but your reach is extended. So under the free plan, your content only goes out to the people that you're connected with. As you upgrade, then it goes out locally, and then when you get Premium Plus, then it goes out internationally because we got Canada too. So your reach is extended, and it gives you more opportunity to connect with people. So if nothing else, that's a win.
Exactly. And then I also want to make sure we talk about, speaking of that exact same question about getting, and all the people about getting customers, I always teach that it's so much easier to, instead of going around and trying to get everybody to buy something from you, it's so much easier to find that person that has a business that actually has access to my ideal customers and build the relationship with that person so they'll tell everybody about you. And it's the same with like what you guys were saying, when you build a relationship with someone, if I get my business started with helping, I want to start helping people get their books written. So I'm doing my event tomorrow and I want to start helping with the publishing. So maybe I want to start that part of my business up again. I guarantee you I built a great relationship with Jason and Sherry, and they're just going to send me customers. I know that if I decide to do that. So talk about the power of that and the mindset shift. Either one of you go first for that one.
I like the mindset portion of it, right? Like, what are you thinking? What are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that you suck and this is not working? Or are you telling yourself, I'll figure it out, right? So there's so many books I can recommend that I like read the Four Agreements. And what are you telling yourself? Read Limitless by Jim Quick. What are you telling yourself to keep you in the game? Because things are going to go wrong. That's just a part of business, and how how do you regroup? How do you reset? Are you celebrating your wins? Right? What are you learning from the losses? And now get some rest, kiss your family, and then get back in this fight again. So all of these things go together in a way that if you are working in your passion, in your purpose, then just work. It'll all line up on its own. Get some training, right? Sue has a whole university. Get some training. Get a coach. I saw somebody in the chat that said they work with a coach. Get a coach. Whether it's a life coach or a business coach or a sales strategist, like talk to somebody. Download the e-courses and the books. Watch the YouTube videos. Be hungry for it because the the more energy you put out, it has to come back to you. That's just the way the universe works. So, and this is why I just work. I just work, and it'll all balance out as we go.
Gosh,
Yeah.
Sherry, what about you?
Yeah, and again, everything that we've talked about on here, it all boils down to building those relationships, right? And having those good relationships. And I love when Sue always talks about, and I've heard it on other people talking about, you don't go out and get married after the first date. Well, get to know the people, because here's what can happen. You go out and you meet some hot person in a bar, and next thing you know, you're having a great night, and you wake up in the next morning and it's like, oh my God, what did I do? Relationships, period. Whether it's a relationship or in business, you will have those nightmare customers. You will wake up in the morning and go, how in the hell did I do that? Why did I bring this guy on as a customer? Why? Get to know people. It's so hard to get out of a divorce. It's hard to get out of, or right, and a business partnership. So build the relationship, and I really hope that you're hearing that. It's it's crucial.
% agree. Okay, there's a totally different question here. What do you do? And it's funny because Sherry and I just did networking for introverts yesterday. Here's a good one. What do you do when you're great on one-to-ones and then you get in a group and you freeze?
I love that.
What do you think? Sherry, you want to go first?
Turn it around. Talk about something that absolutely has nothing to do with your business. What do you like to do? What is a fun fact? What is a non-working hobby? Start having conversations. I do that in my alliance, and people are like, oh, thank God. I didn't have to do elevator pitches. I said, you will never do an elevator pitch in my alliance. I said, we're going to get to know each other. And they're like, this is the best. I've been to BNI and you know, so have genuine conversations. It takes that pressure off.
100%. Jason, any tips?
So, all right, don't take this the wrong way, but nobody's looking at you. If you're in a Zoom and it's a bunch of people, nobody's looking at you. They all looking at themselves. They're looking to see if their background is right, if there's something on their clothes, if they have a boogie. Nobody's looking at you. So relax. So, and then when it's time to talk, only talk when you actually have something to say. Other than that, just be quiet.
And be you. And be you. Don't be a fake person. Be authentic you. Be you.
%. And you know what? Also, like if we're talking about a mastermind, for example, okay, so that's a group, right? And we always say who has the next question, and we'll call on somebody. Sometimes, if you feel, and believe me, I'm an introvert, and I've been through it. You just got to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you just got to go, you know what? I don't care how stupid I look or how dumb I sound. I am just going to do it. And you know what will happen is people will go, wow, that was amazing, you know, whatever that, and you're going to affect someone or inspire someone. So,
and with that, Sue, that a lot of time, and that goes back to the mindset, the self-talk, you know, what are you saying to yourself every morning? Are you saying, oh, I'm not very good at that? Or are you saying, I freaking rock? I am a rock star. I know what I'm doing. So I journal every single morning. Every single morning I'm journaling and I'm saying all the good things about me. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a sought-out speaker. Everything. I say those things because that's what you're going to attract. It's funny. I used to laugh at Sue. She would say, "Oh, journal this," and because it happens. And so yes, things have happened to her, and I'm still journaling. And it's amazing the things that do happen. I've written something down every single day, and then out of the blue, I get this message. It's like, hey, will you come speak at our event? What are you saying to yourself? If you're saying you're not good enough, or I can't, then you won't.
We need to do an event on this. I got one going where we're going to talk more about this because, you know, Terry is exactly right. You know, when I was going through my really shitty time in my life, when I lost everything and I was 54 years old and lost everything and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was in my scarcity mindset and going through all that BS. I just got my journal out and I wrote, I am traveling across the country in my beautiful new motorhome that I paid cash for, and I'm inspiring millions of people. And I went, that was the dumbest thing I ever wrote. That is the stupidest thing. How is that ever going to happen? I have no money. I don't have like 2, coins to rub together. And guess what I'm doing? Exactly what I wrote in that journal. I'm not lying. Every single thing. I've traveled across this country in my motorhome. I inspire millions of people. I got a job at Alignable going, I wasn't even looking for a job. They just said, come and we want to hire to help us make Alignable amazing. Like everything happened and there's no way in hell I would have figured out how that could have happened ever. In fact, I didn't even believe it, but every single day I wrote in it. And, it's like, it is mindset, right? I don't know. Do you have any stories like that, Jason, too?
So, yeah, you have to, Kobe Bryant once said, you have to have an unrealistic, stupid belief in yourself. And this is where we should live, right? This is why I got on the wall that you already don't. You have everything that you need already. You just got to tap into it. And when it gets hard, that's when you go into that place, right? And you will figure it out. Trust yourself. You know, the thing that's crazy about all of it is we tend to look outside for reasons why we can't and reasons to stay in a little safe space or whatever. But you have to evolve, you got to change, right? And things cannot get better without change. And you got to commit to that. So what can I do? What can I change? How can I pivot? You know, when I tell you I change my stuff all the time, all the time, you know, and I reposition and I see what's working and I see what's not working. And then we try something else, you know, but I'm not going to give up on me ever. And as long as you have that attitude, like it's impossible to fail.
Well, we're
Nothing
down.
changes if nothing changes.
That's right. We have like 6 minutes left. Anything else that we haven't talked about? Any your best tips for anybody that's unalignable, that's new, been around a while, wants to change things? What are your biggest, best tips? Let's start with Jason this time.
Focus on your personal brand. Start with who you are before you get into content and who you should be targeting and how much to put out to where, what event, blah, blah, blah. Who are you? What's important to you? What problems do you solve, right? And really spend some time on that. Shameless plug, on my website is a quick workshop, and it's $25, and it'll run you through the steps on figuring out your personal brand. You know, and then now you can use that information, update your profiles, update your website, and then now these are the jumping off points for your conversations.
But Sherry, what's your top tips?
Again, if you're new, making sure you, again, go back to Alignable University, build those relationships, be you, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. I mean, it's a powerful exercise. I can't tell you how powerful it is. And it just, because we are the only ones holding us back. So this is a great platform. I was on BNI for 10 years. I left BNI. I was on Alignable, and in 6 months I did more business with one of them in 6 months than I did in 10 years.
And I remember when you got on Alignable, and you've never sold, you never tried to get customers ever. All you've ever done, and I've watched Sherry grow from like being super nervous and introverted and, you know, getting on level, I don't know what I'm doing, and starting a new business and all this kind of thing. And all she does all the time is help people. You know, if you reach out to her and you're a good person, you're not, you know, definitely don't come out or trying to sell something, you know, she might not talk to you, but seriously, she will help you. So will Jason. And, you know, look for other people that are on the platform to help. And it's like when I teach networking, and I've done this talk, I called it relationship networking when I was traveling all over and talking to all the business owners in person. I always said this, it's like when going back to that terrible time when I was, you know, in my mindset, one day I just looked in the mirror and I went, you know what? I'm just going to help as many people as I can. I just want to help people. I'm not going to worry about getting business. I'm not going to worry about getting customers or making money or paying my rent or whatever all that stuff was. I looked in the mirror and went, you know what? I want to help as many people as I can. And I just wake up every day and I started doing it. And everything just changed when I woke up in the morning and said, who can I help support and add value to? Whose life can I help support and add value to? And I just thought about that every single day. And I made sure that there was someone I added massive value to that day. And if all of you guys, I think you've heard Jason and Sherry talk about this enough, that come on Alignable to help people. And I think, I don't know, you two have talked to a lot of successful members on Alignable, and don't they
There's
say the same thing? Huh?
There's a lot of successful members on here.
And they all say the same thing, right? How did you become successful? Because I help people. I go to the mastermind. I open my mouth. I help people. If someone reaches out to me, I say, let's talk. And I love Jason's very first thing he was talking about on this is if someone does come at you with like full, you know, things blazing and trying to sell you, just say, you know what? I'd love to help you out. Let's meet because we do things differently on Alignable. Let me help you learn how to be successful on Alignable. Be that person to spread it. And just think, if every single person on Alignable was like that, oh my gosh, all of our businesses would go through the roof.
Well, that's why I said, let's create that ripple effect. So you've all been on this call, you've heard us. Now go out and do what we're talked about. Go help other people who are being goofballs. Let's get the goofballs out of here, right? Let's create that ripple effect. It can happen.
Jason, you started something here.
I always kick them out. If there's a goofball at any of my events, I always kick them out.
Sherry and Jason created those shirts that it says, don't be a goofball. And we were together and wore our shirts. That was so fun. Anyway, all right, everybody, don't be a goofball. I did post some things in the chat. I want to make sure you know about Alignable University. We do a lot of events like that. They're all posted there. If you are a verified premium or premium plus, any paid member on Alignable, you get to be in the Alignable Insider community and rub elbows with all of us. We do awesome things in there. We do members only masterminds, smart connects. You get free Alignable coaching by Kathy, who works for Alignable in there. Every week she's on there. You get help with an actual person. And we do things. I was just talking to Jason. I think he's going to do a sales training in there. But you have to be a paid member on Alignable to get that higher end content. Okay, you got to invest in yourself. It's only a couple cups of coffee a week, a month, actually. It's not that much. And so definitely reach out to these two and you know, talk to them. You guys are willing to help, right? All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you two so much. I hope you all got something out of this. I'm going to save the chat here so everybody could do that. And any other questions, definitely go to the Alignable University group or join us in the Alignable Insider community. Thanks, you two. That was a blast.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Always.
I know. I'm feeling like inspired right now. Okay. We'll see you guys soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.